Yo, the very system they use to convince passport bros that it's a bad idea to bring their significant other into the United States just handed them the ultimate weapon. The passport bros just...
All right, so what's up with it? It's your boy Expat D here. So we're reviewing this video. So I know basically when you're interested in dating abroad, the number one objection you'd hear from people is, they're just using you for the green card. They're just trying to get a green card. That's all they're doing. They're just gonna flip the switch once they get to America, and they're gonna leave you. They're gonna leave you. Okay, so watch this video. So according to this guy and some new Trump administration policy, things are going to change in relation to basically women trying to leave you once they get to the States.
Receive an insane advantage, which means they will win in every single dating market on the planet. For decades, you had to hide your foreign wife from the West, afraid she'd get infected by feminism the moment you brought her into America. Guys, most men don't understand what just happened. There was a huge policy update by Donald Trump, and it wasn't just about immigration. It was about leverage. Because for the first time in decades, the girl you bring back to the United States can't just flip the switch, get westernized, and walk off with half of your life. As of August 1st, 2025, she either plays her role or her ass gonna get deported. On August 1st, 2020.
All right, so that's the video. So let's unpack that a little bit. I'll tell you from my experience, being someone that got married abroad and went through the process of immigration, things will be different now, according to this. So the way I understand it, things are going to become a lot more difficult to get permanent residency, and that won't be a permanent thing. I mean, I think that is a good thing because, well, for one, you can't do that. You can't just leave, and a lot of people try that. A lot of people flip the script because when you look at the system of America, it's really I consider it to be anti-relationship. So it's so much of an incentive to get divorced, or if you have a child, to get divorced and get child support and get all these government benefits and things of that nature. It really... Anytime you're struggling, and here's the dynamics. Typically, when somebody comes from another country, and I mean, you've seen this on 90 Day Fiancé. For anyone that's ever watched the show 90 Day Fiancé, I would say the most boring part is once they actually get married and they move to the States. You know, the part where they're kind of pursuing each other and they're going to each other's country or whatever, and you're starting to get to know the other person, blah, blah, blah. That's the fun part. The part that sucks is like after they get married, because the person typically can't just assimilate to the other country. Usually if they have like a college degree and then has to get evaluated to make sure that it is, whatever, reciprocal, like all their credits and all that stuff is equivalent to a U.S. degree. So in that case, they may have to go back to school. This is if they already have a degree. Depends on how it's evaluated. So rarely are you going to find someone that whatever they're doing in the state, in their country, just translates directly to America. Like the only way that can really happen usually is if it's just a business. Let's say you were doing a particular business in whatever X country, whatever country it is, and then they end up doing that business in America. Everything else that requires some type of like certification or license or something like that, usually it's like more school. So typically when the person comes, and I've went through this myself, there's this period where they have to reestablish himself, whether it's like going back to school or waiting on their permanent residency. So it's kind of boring, right? It's challenging on a relationship. And then coupled with so many foreign people, they have a mentality that it's better financially in the States. And I mean, of course, there's that's true to an extent, but a lot of it is fool's gold. You can't tell somebody in another country that might be making a couple $100 a month that you can be in America even making minimum wage. That sounds like you're balling. Because if you take that same figure and take it to a lot of countries, like if you have a $15 minimum wage, you take it to another country, oh my God, you're balling. If you paid me that in a lot of countries, and I knew I had a guaranteed minimum wage salary, and I could put that in another country, I'm sold, because everything else is so much cheaper. The problem is they don't understand that those figures are going to be sucked away with taxes, with different insurances and bills and everything else. That money, the United States is pros of taking your money away. So when you find yourself in a situation where you're not doing as well as you thought you're doing, because I'm sure that a lot of people that get married to people abroad, they have a certain calculation in their head. They're thinking, oh man, I'm going to be making 10 times the amount of money that I make back home. I'm going to do this. I'm going to send money back home to family. I'm going to do this and that and travel and do this and do that. And then if they were dating somebody and, someone like goes for like a couple of weeks at a time or whatever, just dating, all they do is have fun. That's not like their day-to-day life. So when they settle in and all those things happen, they're not making as much money as they think they do. It's not as fun. It's like when you're dating and someone traveled abroad and they just want to have fun, they vacation for a couple of weeks. All those things add a strain on the relationship. So when they start looking at, so you're trying to say, and then you start getting the friends that they meet. If they meet friends that married somebody from another country, a lot of them did that. A lot of them divorced. So they'll say, oh, this is what you need to do. Just call the cops and say you got harassed or, some little bull. Right? They'll put this stuff in their head and this is what you do. And, you do this, you go to this government office, then you'll get paid and you'll get free housing and then you'll get this, you'll get that. So this is the type of game that's being ran and what's being told to them when they meet a lot of people from their home country. This is the game when they go to America. So the fact that is being eliminated, it is a big step. I'm not going to lie. It's a big step. And it adds the right dynamics to a relationship because you should want to marry somebody that you actually want to be with and not just for a come up. And I'll tell you what, it shouldn't stop there. They should really think about the whole divorce thing domestically. They should really change a law to where maybe anything within 3 years or anything within 5 years can be annulled. Because right now, that's what people are doing. They're a lot of one of the reasons why there's such a high divorce rate in America is because it's incentivized. If you knew that you're not going to get anything if you get divorced, then it would be incentivized to work things out. Right now, it's incentivized to leave if you're a woman. So this is actually a step in the right direction. Nevertheless, my advice is if you want to date somebody abroad, it is good to really know the person very well and not rush into things because, and then I'll tell you what, if it's somebody that wants to, if it's a big, okay, if you tell somebody that you're dating abroad that you don't want to live in the States, watch their reaction. If that is a big deal breaker, maybe that's not the person for you. Because I'll tell you what, I mean, if you're like me, which a lot of people are, you most likely are interested in leaving the country. Okay, a lot of times, a lot of people that date abroad, they don't really have they really don't want to move back to America. They want to stay abroad because it's better for them. So that's something to pay close attention. If it's a deal breaker to return to the States, you want to be upfront, because that can ruin a relationship, and the person could totally flip the script and be another person once they're immersed in the American system. So that's something to keep tabs on if you're interested in a relationship abroad. You know, where does America play in the equation? You know, if it's someone that really doesn't want to go to the States, that might be a little bit better, because it may not be all what it's cracked up to be. Now, the only thing that I would say that, and I have to look at this law a little bit more thoroughly, there's advantages of being a permanent resident. So if your partner wants to go to school, that permanent residency helps. I mean, the fact that it can be taken away, okay, that's one thing. But there's an advantage for them to get it for like school purposes and things like that. That would be good. But to have it looked at so that you can't just get it and then disappear, yeah, that's a win. Anyway, let me know in the comment section, what do you think? I'm going to listen to the comments of this video. Let's see what they have to say. And let's see what some people are thinking. I want you guys to also leave in the comment section what you think. Do you think that this is a good law? Do you think it's fair? One person said, 90 Day Fiancé going to need a new business model. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because everything's not going to be about they're just using you for the green card, right? They said Donald J. Trump, the ultimate passport bro. But that's funny. He married someone from abroad, right? So he understands. Not that I'm a Trump supporter, but he understands that. He said Melania is on notice. That's funny. Yeah, he did marry somebody from abroad. He said Papa Trump is trying to ruin 90 Day Fiancé. That's funny. It says, had Trump been what? Well, all these comments are 90 Day Fiancé. My goodness. All right. They said there was never a guarantee of anything. It's extremely difficult to get a woman from any country into the USA as a permanent resident and citizen. It takes years, man. Lots of paperwork, full of documentation of the relationship, bank records, lawyers, and sometimes appeals. I don't see a benefit in bringing them home regardless. Most of the girls around the world want to stay in their home country anyway. Overblown hype. If you have the bread, leaving is the best option. I agree. Leaving is the best option. I don't know about most of them wanting to stay home. It just depends on the country. Depends on the country. If there's someone that doesn't have the opportunities at home, yeah, they're going to want to leave. It says still getting a prenup when it happens. It says, my advice, don't bring a woman here unless you've lived together for at least 6 months. Good point. Doesn't matter how long you've known her. Video calls are not the same as living together. If you can't live there, get a tourist visa and test it out first. Yeah, that's good advice, because the ideal situation is to get a chance. And this is the one thing that I think would be pro relationship, this type of relationship, is when they get the visitor visa. This is like the spousal one. I forget. In the comment section, you could tell me the name of it. I forgot. But I remember there's one that you could bring them to America if you want to date. And then there's one that you get if you already married. I think the 90-day one. Okay, yeah, just like on the show, 90 days. I think that should be longer, because I don't think 90 days is long enough to make a decision. You can keep up an act for 90 days and then pressure the person to get married. I feel like that should be probably 6 months to a year. That would be good. That'd be enough time for you to really know if you really want to do this. Yeah, that would be helpful. I would say make that 6 months to a year, and then include the same stuff that this bill's doing, where you could basically, after a certain time period, revoke it if they start tripping, basically. Yeah. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. This one here said, I'll read a couple more comments. They said, my ex pretended she loved me. After we got a house, she divorced me and had residency. Wow. It says Password Bros just got overpowered now. That's funny. It says also bring limit to alimony, child support, DNA test, and no walking away with half of his property. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff needs to get overhauled because that's why it's really what's ruining the economy, I think, partially, is having high divorce rates. Yeah. Someone says, this sounds so predatory and weak. Okay, I guess. I don't know about that. Yep. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. Yeah, like, share, subscribe if you like this type of content. I'm Expat D, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to end it here. Peace and I'm out.